Hi, friend. Ashley here. Welcome to the Unlock Your Dream podcast. I'm here to guide you along your journey to unlocking your dreams to achieve the best life that you can imagine possible. From my journey in medicine as a PA and then some in the corporate world, I always still desired a little bit more out of life. It wasn't until I met some people who had seen their dreams realized that it occurred to me that maybe, just maybe, mine could come true too. Come along with me as we get to know some of these friends of mine and hear their stories of unlocking their dreams. Hello, friend. Welcome back this week to the Unlock Your Dream podcast. This week, I have a new friend with me. Again, shout out to the Southern Sea for making amazing connections. But Charissa Owens of Charissa Owens Art is truly just an incredible abstract artist, and we'll give you time to go connect with her at the end. But she really is an abstract expressionist artist inspired by the colors and textures of the world around her. And I'm just going to kind of let you dive in, Tristan, with your story and just kind of share with us anything you want to share about your art business. And also, you also are a teacher, which I don't know how you fit both of them in, but
Yes, it is a big job to fit both of them in. I feel like yeah, carrying two full-time jobs has been overwhelming, but also it keeps me hopping and I love both of them equally. So I think that's hard to choose between one or the other. I teach art every day to kids for our Rapids Parish school system, and I love that. I love seeing the kids get their art out in the world and seeing them progress and they get proud of what they create. And that makes me so excited. And just this past week, it was our first week together with our kids, and two of my students were there and they were like, "Oh, Miss Owens, we want to collaborate together on a painting." And so we're like brainstorming ideas of what they could do. And one of them plays the drums and he's like, I'm gonna paint a drum. And the other guy loves to paint dinosaurs. And he's like, I'll paint a dinosaur and we'll do like a dinosaur playing the drums and fire shooting out. And I'm like, that's so cool. I love it. So I will miss my job because I am planning to retire in December. I'm so excited. Yay.
congratulations.
Um, thank you. That'll be really fun and I can focus on my art business a little more. And because that has taken over and I love that. That was my dream, even from elementary school. My uncle would come to my classroom and he would teach us to draw little flowers and vases. And I remember just being in awe of him in front of the classroom and thinking, oh man, I wish I could do stuff like that all the time. And he would sit me on his drafting table and he would draw houses and teach me to draw flowers. And that was so much fun. And I just always wanted to do art. And so high school, I took art classes. And then college, I took art classes and wanted to have my degree in fine art. And my dad was like, oh no, baby, we're not doing that. You need a regular job. So I became a graphic designer because he was like, how could you put art, with a full-time job? And I did that. I graduated, did it for 5 years, and then I was like, I cannot sit at this computer like all day. That that was not for me. I have too much energy for that, I guess.
Yes, I can totally relate to that.
Yeah, that's hard. So I decided to become a teacher and I taught and I think I'd been teaching for 16 years, kindergarten. And then I took a year off and I worked with a clothing brand company that was just launching. And I did all of her social media, marketing, all her graphic design, and helped her just like we would sit at the table and brainstorm clothing ideas together and which buttons to pick and things like that. It
Yeah.
was so fun. We'd go to shows and set up her booth and design the booth to make it beautiful and all those things. And I thought, man, I miss this art world, like this creative space. And I mean, I loved teaching kindergarten too, but I was missing that creativity for sure. So when I went back, because I only had a year off, I went back to the school system. They said, why don't you come be a talented teacher for the talented art program? And because you teach kids wonderfully and you have an art degree, and that pairs perfectly together. And so that was like a dream come true. I was so excited. And so they said, we want you to be more involved in the art community around town since you're going to be, pushing art so much in the school system. So I did. I started painting again. That just took off. I mean, I started with pillows and painting nature scenes on pillows, and people loved them. And then stores started wanting them. And then I painted a really big piece over the summer, and that got in the museum for a show. And the curator came downstairs and she was like, Charissa, this is beautiful. Where have you been? I was like, I don't know. Well, I just, I've been teaching kindergarten. And she's like, you need to do this more often. And so that kind of encouragement made me realize, wow, okay, maybe I do need to do more art. Like it just kind of hit me, and so then I started painting more, and people started asking for different things to be painted, and I did it, and it just grew from there and was very organic. I didn't realize that it would become a business, it was exciting. And so then opened an LLC and, started, it just became a real business. And ever since then, I've been so thankful because I think it brings me so much joy, and I am happier because it was like that was my dream all my life. And I think finally, when you sit in what you were created to do, it's like you just have a joy and a peace and a happiness. And even my kids are like, Mom, you're every day, you're just so happy. And like, it's not like work for you, it's just joyful. And I always tell them, you pick what you love in life because that's when you hit jackpot. You'll never work a day in your life after that because it's fun and it's like a joy to go to work instead of a dread. And um, so that's how I feel. I feel like I have, hit jackpot in my life because I'm doing what I love is creating art and making the world beautiful with beautiful pieces to inspire people. And that's my journey.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh, so beautiful. Now, what year did you start your LLC?
Let's see, that was probably 2022,
That's
2021.
amazing, girl. 2 years to retirement to do this full time. That is incredible.
Yeah, it went really fast. I mean, I did not started out thinking, "Oh, I need to open a business," and it just became that. And then our tax lady was like, "You might need to open something up, because this is a little more than just a hobby." And I was like, yeah, you're right. Oh my gosh, I did not think of it that way, but now it is. And then I had to get an accountant to help me with everything, and then a bookkeeper to help me. And we opened up an account on QuickBooks, and that's helped a ton. My bookkeeper helped work all that out because, I mean, I'm an artist. I don't I don't do taxes and numbers, and so I was just like bringing all my papers. She laughed at me because I literally had a book where I was trying to write every little thing down, and I bring it in. I'm like, okay, here's all my paperwork. Like, what do I do with it?
That's
She was
amazing.
like, yes, we got to get you more organized.
There's so much good stuff in there for entrepreneur friends listening. I think a lot of us have that creative brain, so delegating where we can to really maximize and scale our businesses. And I love what you said about just find something that brings you joy and really hitting the jackpot in life. And for you, it was super organic and not something you necessarily even intended for it to be. It just became. And so I don't know. There's so much beautiful in there. I love that.
Oh, thank you.
So you're
Thank you.
welcome.
It
You
was,
call Louisiana home still.
I
And
do.
I love from your website that you just talk about that affords you an incredible and diverse palette from which to learn and grow. And so with your art, and I can't wait for you guys who are listening to go look at it. It's super hard to describe, but absolutely breathtaking. How she layers really delicately, really soft, muted colors. And she's able to work with a really beautiful myriad of hues and tones and tints and shades, but she still is able to infuse that elegance and peace and serenity. And so,
Thank you,
tell
Ashley.
us
That's
a little
sweet.
bit. Oh my gosh, you're welcome. Tell us a little bit about your process and how you do those multi-layer textures and mediums and paints with all these crazy tools.
Well, I love all kinds of mediums. And I love all kinds of subjects. I get bored painting the same thing over and over and over and over again. So I like to be creative and try new things. I mean, right now in my studio, I've got these three different bottles of stuff that I'm like, oh, I'm going to try to mix these up and see what happens. I mean, it's kind of like a scientist in there, just to see if it works. And then I lay in my bed sometimes at night and have all these things come to me, and I'm like, oh, I should try this on that painting. And what if I put this on there? I wonder if that will make it better. Or um, I like to pull in even like Happy Meal toys that the kids had from a long time ago, just to add texture sometimes. I'm like, oh, this would be cool. I wonder what this will do on the canvas. And um, just all kinds of kitchen tools sometimes, cake decorating tools, anything that is going to produce an interesting mark on the canvas. I'm all about that. Like, I love being creative. But I also love watercolor. Watercolor is like this one right here behind me. Yeah, it's a slow process. Sometimes it's unpredictable, and you have to be patient and layer that slowly. That's not using crazy tools, but it's using water and letting kind of manipulating it, but also letting it flow freely, and being slow. And you can't rush those. And I have tried to rush them before, and it turned into a mess. I was like, oh my gosh, I know better. Um, so I do think I'm so inspired by nature. I'm so inspired by the palette of colors that is just natural. I don't like bright, vibrant, neon, wild colors. I'm super soft. I love the colors that you find in the world naturally. I think those are really just beautiful. I love flowers. I love birds. I love landscapes. I love insects. I love butterflies, dragonflies, all the pretty things that you can just lay in your hammock and see in the backyard. That's my favorite. And my husband's always sending me, we'll go on walks, and sometimes I can't go, or he'll be out and about traveling, and he'll send me pictures of a landscape or a sunrise or a sunset. And he's like, look how beautiful. This is for your next painting, babe. And just because, I think I've opened his eyes even more to just notice the beauty of what is around you. You can go on a walk and see this gorgeous flower growing, on the side of the road that is so pretty. And sometimes that just inspires magical things and a lot of creativity for me. Um, one of my hand molded botanical pieces that have the hummingbirds and it's like the branches and things like that. Those were inspired because my grandfather gave me a Confederate rose bush. And so I planted it in the backyard, and I would lay in the hammock, and those flowers on the Confederate rose are real like thin and wispy, and like the petals are torn on the end, like kind of like this. So I feel like that translated that in there, but it also translated it into my hand molded botanicals. But the flowers are so wispy, and I would lay in that hammock, and the hummingbirds loved that bush. Like, they loved it so much. And they would just come swarm it. And I would lay there super still, not wanting to move, just watching them feed on the flowers. And that was so fun. And all of a sudden it hit me one day laying there. I was like, oh my gosh, I got to go make these. I got to go mold these. And so I ran in the studio because I have one in our backyard. And I ran in there and just started molding away with the clay. And so I had these botanicals and the birds and the branches. And I was like, what could I do, with these and make it really beautiful on a canvas and bring that beauty that I sat there and witnessed outside in my backyard in nature, but bring it inside on a canvas where other people could have that same lovely, magical feeling of laying outside to view. Then I just started putting it on the canvas and thinking that's gorgeous. So that's how that one was born. Just an admiration for nature.
Yeah, I hear it in your voice, and I feel like you need to do like relaxation talks or something. It's just so calming, and I can see myself like laying on your hammock, enjoying the flowers, and that's amazing, girl. Oh,
Thank you. My kids laugh at me because I've got like French jazz music playing in the studio really loud, and I'm in there like singing with the French jazz music. I don't know French at all, like none, zero. They're like, "What? You don't even know what you're singing?" I'm like, "I know, I don't know, but I love it. Like that's just what I love. It's just peaceful and fun, and maybe because you don't know the words and when I'm creating, not knowing the words is probably a good thing because my brain is working hard. And if I was singing actual words, that would throw me off. So French jazz helps along that way. I don't know, but it's my creative music for sure. Love classical pop. Um, I think that's beautiful too. Those probably add to the peacefulness, creative nature that I like to create on those canvases. Um, so
I love just the image of like, I can totally see you in there working with your music. And yeah, I agree. It's like that left brain, right brain thing where it's like you need
mhm.
your language brain off so your creative side can work. So that's a really cool way to do both. That's a great tip for people that are, while you're working, just put on something that maybe is like background noise, but you don't know the words to. So just let it go and let your brain flow. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. Because then it's like the beat is there, but you're not thinking about the words because you don't know what they're saying.
For sure. I love that. Who are some people or what connections have you made? I know we talked about the Southern a little bit earlier, but who are some
Mhm.
maybe you've made along the way to help your business get where it is?
I love the Southern Sea. That has been a wonderful group for me. They are really supportive. They provide so much business training and insight with their Zoom calls. I love that. I don't always get to be on them because I'm teaching a lot during the day. But that has been a wonderful group. And then you just meet so many people from that. I feel like I've made lots of friends, like Audrey, Adele. She's been a great friend that I met from the Southern Sea. And Drew Defer, same thing. I mean, we have been wonderful friends and never would have met if it weren't for the Southern Sea. We're all creative business owners, and anytime you have an issue, it is amazing to be able to call each other and say, "Oh my gosh, what did you do for this?" or "How did you do this?" And they're in the same kind of space, maybe not the same exact business, but the same creative space.
Mhm.
And that's been a wonderful resource. And then even just other businesses in the Southern Sea that could help your business. I worked with Michelle Mize at Sun Cookery, and she purchased several of my stationery to put in some of her boxes, her gift boxes that go out, and that was really a beautiful collaboration for us to work together. So I think not only did it bring friendship, it brought business opportunities as well. And I've worked with interior designers from there. Brooke Adler, she's been great. I worked with her and did a piece for one of her clients, and some other store owners as well. It's just been a great resource. I think for me, working with interior designers and
Mm,
forming relationships has been a great opportunity to help grow my business because they have the clients, who are looking for art and interior things, and I have the art. So it's a good partnership. Um, and then even store owners
mhm.
that are looking for original art for their store, that's been a way that I feel like I've helped my business grow is making connections and friendships through those opportunities. Um,
Yeah, you can't be afraid to network. You got to put yourself out there and ask. And
yeah.
I feel like you're most of the time we've been received really well.
Hmm.
Yeah, I can't say enough. This is not even about the Southern Sea, y'all, but we just can't say enough good things about it. If you're a female entrepreneur, especially in the South, like it's the place to be for sure.
Hmm.
Anything that
Absolutely.
popped up on your journey that's been maybe something you had to overcome that you didn't expect, or any surprise twists and turns that maybe turned out better than you expected?
Well, I think making the decision to retire,
Mhm.
that has been a really hard decision to make. And because I love both jobs, I love my art business and I also love teaching kids art lessons all day. That has it's hard to leave something you love to go for something that you love even more. And that's what I told my boss. I was like, I love y'all so much. I love this job. It's not at all because I'm unhappy. And she was like, you know what? You go do your thing. And if you ever want to come back, we want you back. And so that was good reassurance that if, people quit buying art for whatever reason, I can always go back to teach art. Um, but I think that was probably that took me almost a year probably to make that decision to retire. And that was a really back and forth decision of, yeah, retire, just paint full time. You can't even keep up with what you're doing now. Your commissions are booked and you've got stores asking for more art and you can't even provide it. You're having to turn opportunities down because you can't paint fast enough. And so there, one day I'm in that vein. And then the next day I'm like, no, you need to play it safe. Keep working through the school system. That's a great retirement. Stay there, work as long as you can. And I talked to my bookkeeper about that. And I said, I'm just scared. I'm scared to take that leap and retire and just do art full time. Like that makes me nervous. I'm scared to leave that security of the school system. And she told me such an amazing story that really hit home a lot. Like I literally got tears in my eyes when she told me. She said, Charissa, do you remember the parable in the Bible where several people, God gave them or Jesus gave them talents to go and to multiply? And she's like, the one who went and hid his talent and said, oh, well, I didn't want to lose this one. So I just hid it and kept it close. Jesus like chastised him and he was like, not happy with that, but the ones who took their talents and grew it and multiplied it, he's like, that's what I wanted you to do. And she said, Trisha, God gave you that talent. And she was like, God gave you that talent to bring peace and serenity to people's homes through your art and to bless people through what he gave you. And she was like, don't hide it. Don't be scared, that don't be scared to multiply it. And she was like, go forth, use it, multiply it, make God proud. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just started getting teary eyed in the parking lot when we were talking about that. And isn't that just like life? Like we're scared, we're nervous to pursue something. And, but we can't be, we have to let the Lord make it grow, take the chances and go for it. God gave us our talents, let them grow.
Wow, girl. Mic drop. I can't.
I know.
Full chill instantly. Oh my God.
Say, me too. I know when she told me that, I was like, oh my gosh. And then I almost felt guilty because I had been struggling with that decision for so long. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel bad now. Like, I don't want to hide my talents. I'm thankful that God gave me that. Absolutely. So
Yeah.
it's funny how God uses people to speak to you in, the smallest of ways, the least. We're leaving, my training on QuickBooks session and standing in the parking lot. And I get that. I was like, golly, I just went to church right here.
Yeah, well, you were open to it and you were open to receiving it and probably had been looking for it. And I think things find you when you're looking for them,
They
and
do. Yeah.
it was so good. I can't wait to go back and re-listen to this just for that part. I think.
It is. But I am thankful. Like I'm so excited. I feel like so many opportunities have come my way and I'm excited for in January. I can just say yes to everything.
Wow.
Like when we were talking earlier about Round Top, I've been invited to go to Round Top and set up and bring my art. And I just didn't have the inventory or the time to go because I couldn't take off of work that much. But that's a great opportunity. I didn't want to miss out on that. And so the lady said, you know what, we'll invite you again in the spring. Just, whenever you retire, we'd love for you to come. And I'm excited for things like that. I can go do whatever I want to do that's going to bring my business and move it forward. So that's been kind of a roller coaster of a ride making that decision. And I think also another thing that I've had to learn through business is knowing which things to say yes to and which things to say no. Because, when you're a growing business doing exciting things, a lot of people want to, participate in that journey, which is a wonderful blessing. But you can't say yes to everything. You have to evaluate what is the best opportunity for my business that's going to move me the most forward. And
Mhm.
that's the thing I need to say yes to, even though this other thing looks great and exciting and shiny and really fun and it would be a great opportunity. This other one is greater. And so that's been a learning curve for me too, because at the beginning I was just like, oh, I'll say yes to everything.
Yeah, I
So
get that. And then you get distracted from the it's treating the good for the great. And I love that you're able to maybe say yes to that thing next year. And now you can show up even bigger and better than you could have shown up if you were stretched so thin to say
absolutely.
yes too early, and maybe you can
Hmm.
do like a fun summer camp next year, like for art for kids for the week or something. So you still get to tie that part of your talent into. Um, but who knows what you'll be opened and able to do that.
Hmm.
Well, thanks for sharing that. That's really good advice, I think, in every area of life.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
so you're a wife and a mom. So how do you, again, throw those two roles in there on top of being a teacher and an artist? And you may have already covered it a little bit, but how do you balance throwing in those family roles with being an artist and a teacher?
It is a lot. And sometimes I'm probably not the most successful. My husband says this. He's like, it's like a boat, and you've got all these corners that you're trying to keep up on the boat. And sometimes one corner can go down a little bit because the other corner went up.
Mhm.
So sometimes my role as a mom can fall off because I'm busy cranking out work for an art show. But then the next week, I can let the cranking out the artwork slow down, and then I'm at more events for my kids and hauling them everywhere they need to go, dance and soccer and all the things. So that mom role goes back up, and so it's like a balancing act of trying to keep all sides of your boat afloat. And I think that is been hard, and I can't say I'm always great at that, because I do get out there in that studio and get lost track of time, and because you get into the creative flow, and 5 hours have gone by, and it's like, oh my gosh, and then one of the daughters will come running out there, Mama, I got to be at dance right now, and I'm like, okay, and I'm like throwing the paint apron on the ground and putting the brushes in the water and running out the door like, oh my gosh. So, and I usually have paint all over me and my hair on my legs, and I'm like putting a towel down in the car so I don't get it on the car seat. And so it's a little wild. I burn the dinner often because I'll turn it on and then I'll run outside to paint something that I'm thinking, oh, I'll be out there for, 20 minutes. And I come back in and it's like an hour later. And my husband's like, yeah, you burnt the gravy. I'm like, oh my gosh.
The love of the artist.
Yes. So, but he does help so much. I don't know what I would do without him, and my mom and his mom. They all pitch in and help. And my son's driving now, so that helps too, because he can run errands for me. Like he'll make deliveries for me sometimes, and or go run get an art supply that I need, or take the girls where they need to be. And so it is a balancing act every day. It is. And I just try to do the best I can. And I get mom guilt like everybody, I'm sure. But I also think of this. They see me pursuing something that I love and growing something that I love and working hard and making it happen. And that there's bonus to that in their life as well. So I try to remember that.
That's so good. Yeah, I always hear leadership is spelled EXAMPLE, and they are just watching your example as a mom. You speak so loud with your actions, sometimes a lot louder than our words.
So true. Yes, Ashley, that is so true.
So good.
Mhm.
Well, what would you say to someone who maybe has a dream, like you said, you kind of went back and forth with the art full-time school, that they feel like they just are scared or have doubt, and you've been on its stem. So people can certainly go back and re-listen to some advice you've had. But anything else that you would want to add to someone that maybe has this dream locked inside that they feel nervous to pursue?
Golly, I just think I would always try to do my best at everything. Like I didn't ever want to put anything out that I wasn't proud of. You know, I would bring the art in the house and look at it. And if I wanted to keep it and thought, oh, this is beautiful, then I'm like, okay, I know it's ready to go out the door. Um, so I think no matter what your journey is or what business that you have, always like put your best work out there and always work very hard to keep your quality, really nice and but also enjoy what you're doing, have fun because that's the whole point of the journey, right? To enjoy life and have fun with what you're doing. Um, don't take it too serious, but also do take it serious because you want high quality stuff out there. Um, and I think just take it one day at a time. You don't have to conquer all of it in one day. My husband reminds me of that sometimes because I am like, oh, I got to do this and this and this and this. He's like, just step back and just pick one and focus on that. Um, so I think, that's good advice. Just take it one thing at a time and don't feel overwhelmed. Slowly build. It's like a long game. You can't
Mhm.
do everything in a short amount of time. And I think relationships, like build friendships and relationships with people and value that a lot more than just a transaction. People value that whenever you're their friend and you're kind and you're personable. I think that's important too. You're selling a product, but or I mean, I'm selling a product, but I'm also selling me and a story and a friendship and a relationship. And you're your brand, so whatever you're putting out in the world, people see that and relate it to whatever you're producing. So I think that's important. I mean, I think that I don't know how to tell somebody whether they should retire or keep working. That's oh gosh, that's such a personal, hard journey to figure out. For me, I think it was when I started making more money doing my art business than what I made at my real job. That was my first clue. And I was like, okay, hmm, I can do better doing this.
Mhm.
But also, I think not just that, I mean, that was one part of it, but you got to also think about what makes you happiest, and I was like, I am happier out there in my studio, cranking out the art every day. That is what brings me joy.
Mhm.
And, I think that is a factor as well. So those two things. And then when you have to say no to opportunities that come along, like amazing opportunities that you don't want to say no to, that would really move your business forward, that you're like, golly, I hate that I can't do that.
Yeah.
Those were all clues to me that, okay, it's time. It's time to, if that's what you want to pursue, and if you want to grow your own art business, you have to let this other go because it's holding you back.
Wow.
Even though what was before and I loved it, like, I love that. But if I want to move this forward, then I'm going to have to let it go. And, I told my kids last week, I told some of them, I was like, I'm going to be retiring in December. So you'll get a new teacher in January. And they were all like, Miss Owens. And like we all got teary eyed. And I was like, maybe I don't want to retire, but then I was like, okay, you can't change your decision based on emotional response. You have to like logically think through it. And
Yeah.
they were like, well, Miss Owens, you'll have to still come visit us. You'll have to still come say hi to us every now and then. And I was like, absolutely. I can definitely do that. So I think, you got to weigh things out logically and just take your time. Take your time and sit on it and dwell on it for a little bit. Don't make fast decisions. Um, so I guess those are all my pieces of advice.
So good. Man, that's so good. Well, as we're winding down on time, where can people connect with you, first of all? And then second of all, is there anything else that you wanted to mention that we didn't get to?
Think so. I think, I love talking with you today. It was great. It
Thanks.
was like hanging out with my friend. I love that. That you can find me at on Instagram at Charissa Owens Art. And I'm going to spell that because I know my name is really hard to spell. It's Charissa, and then Owens, Owens, and then art. That's my Instagram. I'm on Facebook as well. And then my website is charissaowensart.com. So that's where you can find me.
So
Yeah.
for
I'm
all
on
that.
Pinterest too, but I don't get on Pinterest very often. That's something I need to work on.
I was gonna say we need to chat about that offline. I feel like that's becoming like the new place to get marketing out. So we need to chat that too.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I'm like, I don't know if I have like space in my head to do any more. It's just so sometimes that social media thing can take over. That's a good thing. I do want to say that
Yeah.
your social media or anybody's social media, that's their window to the world of who you are. So I think having beautiful, high quality images and valuable information and text on there, I think that's so important to building a business because that's how people see you and perceive you and learn who you are. So that is another piece of advice is make sure that looks really nice and beautiful and is putting out the vibe you want to put for your business.
Yeah. So good. Just like you said, show up with your best everywhere you go, especially there.
Yeah, yeah, for
So good.
sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking your time to share your story and all the wisdom that you dropped and for being real and vulnerable. And I'm just so grateful to get to share this
Absolutely.
and
I
get
am
people
too.
connected.
I loved getting to know you today. That was so fun. I feel like we're like automatic friends now next time we see each other.
Okay, friend, that's it for this week. Thank you so much for spending time with me. Feel free to share this podcast with another friend who it may inspire. Leave a review to possibly be featured at the beginning of another episode, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the stories that could help unlock your dream for you.